Namaskar. I'm really delighted today to have a wonderful friend and a distinguished scholar and champion of Sanskrit, Shri Chamu Krishna Shastry ji with me.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. I just want to tell you a little bit about Chamu ji. We are very good friends. He is the champion who created Sanskrit Bharati. Sanskrit Bharati is an amazing institution all over the world. And he will tell us a little bit about it, how many centers they have, and they teach spoken Sanskrit. They have revived Sanskrit as a common language that a lot of people can speak. Besides, in that capacity, he has helped me a lot in my work. He has provided me a lot of information, a lot of insights, a lot of references, helped me in my cause, and invited me to the Sanskrit World Congress twice. Once in 2005 in Bangkok and once in 2015, the famous one when we had all these problems with Sheldon Pollock. So I am very indebted to you. So now you are in HRD and not running Sanskrit Bharati, but still it is in your heart. So tell us, one of the things I wanted to ask is, what should be done to promote Sanskrit and what can the common person do?
Suprabhatam. At the outset, I would like to thank you for inviting me for this discussion in front of your the whole world. It is in fact, we are indebted to you because of your initiatives. Now there is a new wave in the Sanskrit world now today. As far as new initiatives and what should be done for Sanskrit is concerned, there are 2-3 types of works to be done. One from government side, second from Sanskrit scholars, and third from lovers of Sanskrit.
Common man.
So all three are different.
Right.
When this committee to suggest vision and roadmap for development of Sanskrit 10-year perspective plan, a committee was formed in chairmanship of Mr. N. Gopalaswamy. When that committee met and was discussing, usually government appointed committees recommend what government should do. But that committee did not suggest action plan only for government. The beauty is they suggested all these three. For the government and Sanskrit scholars, Sanskrit institutions, and also public at large. So as far as government is concerned, it is not only HRD. All ministries have something or the other to do with the Sanskrit. So all ministries have to work for Sanskrit. As far as HRD is concerned, it is both in higher education and school education, in traditional patashalas, traditional learning and modern streams. It is not only in Sanskrit universities but in general universities as well. Teaching and popularizing Sanskrit is not only in Sanskrit patashalas or in Sanskrit classes, but in science classes, engineering colleges, professional colleges, everywhere.
Very good.
And there need to be a interaction between both modern and ancient streams. There should be more interaction between Shastra scholars and scientists and technocrats. And there should be fellowships and internships for both, science, IITians going to Sanskrit universities and working there for 1 or 2 years. And at the same time, Sanskrit scholars from Sanskrit universities going to premier scientific institutes and working there. So this way, it should be bridged. There is a great need to bridge both ancient and modern, east and west, good of all. That has to be done. So, and as far as Sanskrit is concerned today, the main crux of the problem is teaching method. How Sanskrit should be taught. Whether grammar to rule to example approach or example to rule approach. Whether you teach grammar through language or language through grammar. Today, language is taught through grammar. We want to teach grammar through language. That is all the difference it makes. So there are 5 lakh Sanskrit teachers throughout the country. both in traditional and modern school and higher education. All these 5 lakh students are the products of grammar translation approach. Throughout the world, Hindi is taught through Hindi, English through English, Spanish through Spanish, any language.
That's how the mother teaches a child.
Yeah, yeah.
Mother does not teach grammar.
Yeah, yeah.
Says her mother teaches through just learning.
Yes, yes.
So what is the history in the colonial era which switched this way of teaching Sanskrit?
Because at that point of time, when British education system was introduced in India, at that point of time, even in grammar schools and English schools in all colonial countries, the then prevailing language teaching method in English was grammar translation method. And the very purpose of grammar translation method is to understand the literature and to translate, because they were translating Greek and Latin literature into European languages. Same method was introduced in Sanskrit.
So that is the method useful for a dead language. Because the language is dead, you're not promoting usage.
Yes.
You just want to understand what those dead people did, what they were saying.
Yes. All the modern approaches and methods and approaches to language teaching, like, started with the grammar, direct method, then behavioral approach, structural approach, situational approach, communicative approach, functional notional approach. All these methods and approaches to language teaching came during last 100 years, not before that. Before that, grammar translation method was prevailing. So as far as Europeans, when they came to India, for them learning Sanskrit, objective of learning Sanskrit was to understand some literature and to translate to European languages. So the grammar translation method is the best suited method for that, and they learned Sanskrit through that method, and the same method was introduced. The irony is, just I give you one example. Now, in Maharashtra and Gujarat, how Sanskrit is taught, and see how Sanskrit is taught in other part of the country at school level. Throughout the country, at school level, the lakara declensions of verbs are taught like this: patati patata, patanti, patasi patata, patata, patami patavaha, patamaha. Whereas in Maharashtra and Gujarat, for last 80 to 90 years, Sanskrit is taught, this lakara is taught in the different way. Patami patavaha patamaha, patasi patata patata, patati patata patanti. It is just the opposite. Right. Because in English it is first person, second person, third person. Right. So the same, this one is introduced here also. Right. The Panini grammar rewritten according to English grammar. Correct. So that is why today throughout the country, both Sanskrit students and Sanskrit teachers are not in communicating in Sanskrit. So there should be a revolution in Sanskrit teaching.
So in a summarized way, what are the three? What will the government do in the plan?
Yeah, government will concentrate on teacher training. Yes, 1. 2, material production. New way of Sanskrit for students, Sanskrit for adult beginners.
But here I want to interject. Yeah. My work is on doing Purva Paksha of those who are distorting.
Yes.
Not only the language, but its grammar, but also the text interpretation. Yes. So, do you feel the government should also have a role in encouraging the Purva Paksha of the wrong Western methods that have come in? Because, to plant a garden, if you keep planting roses, you have to pull out the weeds also. Yeah. So, you have to pull out what is wrong and bad, and then you can prepare the soil for what is good. Yeah. So, if you don't pull out the weeds, the garden will die. Yeah. So, these weeds which have been put in from the colonial period have still not been taken out. Yeah. So, we need to take that out. But that is an unpopular job. Yeah. That is pulling out weeds is, get your hands dirty, and some of those pests will bite you also. Some of these pests are pretty bad. They're snakes also. Yeah. So to do that requires some courage and being willing to do politically incorrect things. Yeah. So what do you think should be the government's role in that?
Actually, the tradition of Sanskrit is Vakyartha Sabha, Shastra Sabha. Yes. Both the opponents and both Paksha.
It is part of our tradition to do.
Yes. But that tradition has died. Right. I mean, it is not it is alive in some parts of the country with some scholars. It is limited to some scholars. So now we have to revive that tradition of Vakyartha.
I'll tell you what we are doing in the Swadeshi Indology Conference 2 in February, which is going to be held here in IGNCA. We are going to have a response from the traditional oral tradition to Sheldon Pollock. So Sheldon Pollock's text will be read out on one topic, and somebody will summarize it in English, Aam Aadmi plain English.
Great.
Then, so 2 minutes of Sheldon Pollock reading of his text on one particular topic, and 2 minutes of summarizing in English. 2 minutes it will be translated into Sanskrit, and then 7 minutes for the response from these people, a group of people coming from Chennai who are specialists in the oral tradition, very orthodox oral tradition. So that response will be then again translated back into English. This one round will take 20 minutes. We will do 10 of these on 10 different topics. Now, so we are reviving this.
Great. I would like to add one. The same is in the Vakyartha Sabha also.
That is correct.
In the Vakyartha Sabha, both the participants of both Purva Paksha and Uttara Paksha, all are supposed to present without any matsara or purvagraha or without thinking of who would win or not to win.
Objectively,
very unbiased way.
Our problem is that Purva Pakshin don't want to participate because they're living on a very high cloud, very idolized, and they don't think that we are worth anything. Who are we to challenge them? So in the tradition, the person who is the authority would not be so arrogant and saying, "Who are you to challenge me? If you challenge me, I have to give a response." So today it is like, I'm such a big shot. Who are you? So that arrogance of the Western Academy is there. So we are going to do this anyway. Invite them, keep inviting them. So one day they will come. One day they will have to come because even behind their back we will keep having these discussions. So this is something we are doing as our own initiative.
Actually, I would like to add, you are doing a great service to Sanskrit by reviving this tradition. Not only this tradition, actually the problem of Sanskrit scholars community, Sanskrit teaching community is that they are nowhere in the present day such discussions. There is a big disconnect between traditional scholars and modern scholars, and among Sanskrit scholars also those who come from traditional Sanskrit patashalas, because they do not know English, they are disconnected from contemporary debates, and at the same time there are Sanskrit scholars who are good in English and research and presenting papers, but they are not well rooted in Shastric knowledge. Because of this disconnect, between amongst Sanskrit scholars with the in between these two streams, modern stream and ancient stream, they are not in a position to respond to contemporary issues.
So what we found out, because we've done the Swadeshi Indology first conference in IIT Madras, now we're doing the second, what we found out is there are many problems. One of them is the people who are really grounded in Sanskrit don't know English, and those who are grounded in English don't know enough Sanskrit. The other problems are those who know English don't know the English of particular Western Videshi Indologists, because they are talking very, very deep detail, using jargon from Western thought. They are bringing Western Siddhant, Western thought, Western thinkers, and constantly quoting people that are unknown to the Indian. So Indian who knows English also says, I'll have to, one fellow was very honest and he said, I will need to have 100 books which are referenced in his bibliography. I will have read them and then only I can understand what he's saying. Otherwise, just knowing English is not enough. So the lack of knowledge, because they have taken control of the discourse and put the discourse about us in their own framework. And that framework we don't even understand. So this is a very big job. That is, understanding their framework and presenting it to our people is what I'm trying to do. Then the job has to be taken over by other people. But I'm disappointed that some of our people who have capability are already working on the other side. This is true. Some of them have been picked up by the Western Indologists and given them grant and taken them to nice, places, and so they are on the payroll of the other side. So it is very difficult for them to go and be objective and neutral in doing this critique. And some of them will honestly tell us that I don't want to burn my bridges. And some of them don't say it, but that is what is going on. Then there are those who are not on the payroll, but they hope they will be. because careers are built over there. We don't offer careers. This is another problem I want to ask you. A lot of people say, okay, I will stick my neck out, I will do this, but then what will happen? What will you give me? And so we need to have an answer for that. And then there is also the question of having the analytical skill to take all this data, because it's not enough to know what the Shastra said. You have to be able to build an argument. In response to what somebody has said, you have to build an argument. So that requires some analytical skill. So that also we find is not there. So all these problems are such that, a well-known Indian Sanskrit online e-group, it's very difficult to get them to cooperate because they have all kind of excuses not to do. Some silly excuse, some ego excuse, somebody's wondering why are they doing it. Well, we are saying then you please do it. We will back off, you please do it. So far you haven't done it, that's why we are doing it. So there are all these internal issues among the insiders. How to handle the insiders and get them organized. That is something.
Rajiv, I was hearing your lecture in IGNCA the other day.
Yes.
It was a great education for me also, which you spoke on Swadeshi Indology.
Yes.
After hearing your lecture, so many thoughts came in my mind. One, responding to discourses outside India. Two, responding to the discourses, debate in India, within India.
Yes.
To those who are influenced by outside views.
Right.
Two.
Right.
Three, equipping our Sanskrit scholars.
Right.
Three. Fourth, there is another thing. Now we are addressing the issue which is in dominantly in English. We are addressing it English through English.
Through English. We are
or Sanskrit through English. The whole debate
is in English.
Yes, English. So Sanskrit through English. So the approach could also be, I was just wondering, even before this our discussion started,
right.
I was dreaming, a day will come when we will have this debate in Sanskrit.
Yes,
both.
So for that to happen, we have to put into Sanskrit the works of Sheldon Pollock, the works of all these people. We have to take 20, 30 schools of Western thought about Sanskrit, about our Hinduism, Vedic thought. We have to put it in Sanskrit and then debate and give the answer back in Sanskrit.
Certainly, for last 150 years or 200 years, Sanskrit works have been translated to other languages, not vice versa.
Exactly.
Now is the time to bring all the current modern trends and developments into Sanskrit.
And one of the reasons China is not colonized is because from the 5th, 6th, 7th century, the Chinese rulers, Chinese emperors always had a project to translate Western thought into Mandarin. So they kept the Mandarin scholar up to date with what is going on. So when Hegel came, they guys are ready because they have a machinery to translate all of that from German to Mandarin. And so they're teaching their children, this is what those guys are thinking, how to answer back. So their Purva Paksha, Uttar Paksha is active. So we have been supplying our knowledge to them and feeling very proud. Because you are translating and you are learning, I must be good. So it is an inferiority complex.
Even after the independence, we followed the same. We started translating Sanskrit works in Indian languages. People read the translation of Gita. They didn't read Gita. Even now they are reading translation, not original Gita. Today, it should be reversed.
So one of the projects Infinity Foundation funded about 10 years ago was Arindam Chakravarti, University of Hawaii. He translated 5 or 6 major Western thinkers into Sanskrit. And he went to Tirupati Sanskrit University and taught, and he went to Banaras and he taught to the Sanskrit Pandits. This is what the Western thought is. Now give me a response. And he had this debate where he represented the Western thought in Sanskrit and the Pandits gave a response. And his report back to us was that these are very brilliant people. If they knew what the Western thought is, they have no problem giving answers. They're very, very sharp and brilliant people. So, but this project can go anywhere. We wanted government to take over. Of course, in those days, they were not interested. As a small foundation, we could do only so much. So now what we want to do is something like this should be done. Government should help us.
Actually, today morning I was reading your latest book, Academic Hindu Phobia.
Oh, yes.
I liked one example you gave. Instead of purifying water in every tap, go to the water tank, the source of the water, and clean it there.
Yes, that is correct.
I liked your approach.
Yes.
It is great.
Yes.
So we should go to the root causes of the decline of Sanskrit in India today. So perhaps the way Samskrita Bharati is doing is a right approach. I feel that is complementary to your work, what you are doing.
See, what I would like is if they would take the battle for Sanskrit and translate it into Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Then the Sanskrit people, besides learning the language, will also read what is an opposing point of view.
Yeah.
Then exercises can be given on, give an answer to this paragraph, give an answer to that chapter. So little points which somebody else is writing about our Sanskriti, our people can give answer back.
Now, that should be done certainly, but I would like to add two more things also. Translating battle for Sanskrit in Sanskrit. At the same time, create translators for translating many more such your other books also.
Yes. We need to
Number 3, create the readers also in Sanskrit. Today we do not have even readers also. We have to create readers in Sanskrit also.
Right.
So all 3 we have to do.
Yes, that is correct.
So the Samskrita Bharati work and Infinite Foundation work are complementary.
We would love to have this collaboration, and you have helped us put together Sanskrit Bharati. I just want to thank them. They have helped me a lot. Every place I've gone, the Sanskrit Bharati people are very helpful to us.
Even Samskrita Bharati today, it is spread to around 5,000 cities and places, villages in India. About 10,000 volunteers are actively working for popularizing Sanskrit language, and it is spread to 15 other countries also. And Samskrita Bharati for last 35 years it has taught about 10 million people to speak Sanskrit. At least 1,100,000 people are teachers are trained. About 500 books and CDs are published. So it is doing
and now with this internet, Facebook and other technologies, we can actually do things more.
Actually, for the popularization of any language, there are 6 or 7 needs. One is speakers. Second, using it as a medium of instruction, medium of entertainment, medium of communication, etc., etc. Third, contemporary literature. Fourth, continuous word generation. Fifth, adaptation of the technology. Sixth, patronage, both government and corporate patronage. Seventh is the creating that demand in the society. Strong willpower to bring Sanskrit back to everyday life.
Right.
So we have to work in all these 7 fronts.
Yes.
As far as Sanskrit is concerned.
Right.
So now there should be 3-pronged strategy. What government institutions should do. Even in government issues, central government, its part is only for higher education. School education is with the state governments. Actually, most of the teaching, most of the Sanskrit teachers and Sanskrit students are in school education, both the traditional pathshalas, and so there is a lot of thing to get done through state governments. When Sanskrit is discussed, all Sanskrit scholars think of central government to do more for Sanskrit, but they don't approach the state government. There is no lobbying for Sanskrit. There is lobbying for awards. There is lobbying for positions, but more lobbying is needed for Sanskrit in state governments. So then there should be initiative from Sanskrit scholars, Sanskrit teachers to bring Sanskrit and to be in the present.
Right.
Our people are not at the present.
Because the idea that Sanskrit when you learn Sanskrit, you're disconnected from the current world is a wrong idea. And that is what a lot of image is. That, we are living modern life, but the point is we are living modern life, yet Sanskrit has so much to offer for today. And that is also part of what we have to do, is relevance of Sanskrit in today's life. Now here I want to mention that our Swadeshi Indology movement, we found that the senior scholars are so confident, lofty, maybe the word arrogant is too strong, but some of them are. They don't think they want to go down and do detailed work. Because they did it when they were young, and now they just give speeches. And they are not interested in doing the detailed work. But I must say that the Sheldon Pollocks and the Jack Hollies and the Wendy Donigers, in their late 60s and 70s, they're writing book after book, very detailed work. So the ethics, the academic ethic of continuing to produce original work of high caliber, very well referenced, very rigorous, they have that. In our case, very few people. I mean, it was a pleasure to meet Dr. Nagaswamy, who in his late 80s is writing tremendous work. We are very honored. We have Professor V.N. Jha, who at this stage is such a rigorous, such a brilliant scholar. So we have people like that. But we need more. We need more. We need more. And you see, a lot of people are living on some old glory, and they have some official position. They're living on that. But when we talk to them about producing actually an original piece of work, analyzing some problem, analyzing a certain Purva Paksha opponent, they aren't able to do it. Then they give a reason why it's not needed, because they can't do it. Rather than saying I can't do it, they'll say, oh, it's not needed. They try to smear our whole campaign. On the other hand, I find a lot of young people are interested. Now these young people need senior people to mentor them. So we are creating this idea that we take 5-6 people, we make them research fellows. So we have the Infinity Foundation India Research Fellow. And so we've given 5, and we've given them stipend. So they are now research fellows. And we found them as a result of the Swadeshi Indology Conference 1 in IIT Madras. In the second conference, which will happen in conjunction with IG and CA, we expect to find another 10-15. So we're going to keep adding. Now these young people need, every 5 or 6 of them need a senior person as a mentor. So we need teams where a team takes on a certain issue, and they really look at the Shastra, and they become the world expert on debating that issue against anybody. This is the kind of thing we're trying to do. So I would really like Sanskrit Bharati to help us also.
Certainly. But one more thing I would like to bring to your notice, you may be knowing already, for last 2-3 decades, there is a big change as far as traditional knowledge is concerned. So many young scholars are, in different shastras are coming up. Now, at least I can name a few hundred such young scholars.
Excellent.
Who are master of that each shastra. Some 20-30 years back, I was very much worried about but now I am confident. So for example, 2-3 names Mani Dravida Shastri in Chennai, Devadatta Patil in Goa. There are many such scholars. For example, just I would like to tell few things about Devadatta Patil. He just passed out 12th with good marks, and he was about to study marine engineering, but he had 4 his ancestors, Ganapatis, 4 Ganapatis, all his parents. Then they asked him to whether he can study Vedas. So he immediately agreed, studied Vedas, one Veda in Satara and Pune. Then he went to Varanasi to learn Shastra. Then he went to Kanchipuram to study this Nyaya Shastra. At that time, Goda Subramanya Shastri, he was 83 years old. He was reluctant to teach this Devadatta Patil. He said, I have lost memory, I am not teaching. But somehow he insisted. Then on 3 conditions, Goda Subramanya Shastri agreed to teach him. Number 1, you will not join any job until you create a few dozen, few scholars like you. He said, yes, agreed. Number 2, you will not go outside India. You will remain in India for teaching Sanskrit. He agreed. Because he wanted to, Goda Subramanya Shastri, he had that, this one, knowledge should be revived here in India.
Actually,
Second.
yes.
Number 3, if you teach Shastras to foreigners, you should not go to them, they should come to you.
And they should respect you in the traditional way.
With that, he agreed all 3. Then he started in 1.5 years. After this, this Mahapariksha and Shalaka Pariksha, Tenali Pariksha, these are the traditional examinations, great, a different type of examinations. So he passed that examination in 2.5 years. Then now he has passed Mahapariksha in Mimamsa also, in Vedanta also. Now he has started Gurukulam, and 13 of his disciples have passed Mahapariksha in Nyaya, 2 in Mimamsa. He has created 26 scholars like him in 10 years' time.
So we want him, with your help, we have to get him into our Swadeshi Indology project as a leader, as somebody who takes in charge of a certain area and with his students. And you see, our job is to create a kind of funding mechanism, institutional mechanism, make sure we have world-class forums so their voice is heard all over the world, with the technology, with the publishing. These kind of things we can do. But this kind of a brain is very rare. This kind of a person is very rare. So
there are many such scholars who are creating great scholars, young scholars.
Their own team, their own parampara.
Their own team.
Yes.
And so many scholars are being created in Varanasi, in Chennai, in Bangalore, being trained in traditional way. Only thing is they have to be, given your input.
They have to be, but they have to be connected with the international discourse, why it is important to respond. That they need to learn. Because right now they are learning our traditional thought. But how to combat and how to talk back, how to debate is another skill also to be added. So in their curriculum of learning, one more thing that needs to be added is how to give the Uttar Paksha to a tough opponent. That is I would really be happy if you would get involved in our Swadeshi Indology. Bring these people. So you please do that. Because one of the things each conference is doing is allowing us to go around the country. We give talks like I gave at the other day, and bring more people into our thing. So we work together. We create a network and help each other.
Certainly, kartum shakyate, karaniyam, etadrisham militva karaniyam.
So this is very good. It's a first conversation with you of many we will have. And I want to request all the followers we have 12 lakh followers on Facebook.
Great.
And I want to request all of them, please go and follow Chamu Shastry ji's page. And because he's a great man, he's doing fantastic work. We need to encourage such people. And I'm also personally indebted to him because he's done so much for me.
We are also grateful to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dhanyawad.
Thank you.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad. Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad.